Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. And if you know anything about my channel, you know I'm all about thrift shopping and finding laptops and bringing them back to life. But I try to pick stuff that's different, and in pretty good condition. So this is one of the ones that I came across. So this is not going to be quite an ASMR keyboard rubbing thing. It's more of an actual discussion about this laptop. But it's going to be really relaxing. And I might still call it ASMR because, there you go. So in this case, it's a HP Compaq nc4400. And, a lot of times when HP did something with their Compaq line, it was not impressive. But in this case, this thing is very, very small. It's almost like a little bigger than a netbook. So very, very portable. And yet very, I don't know, I wouldn't say it looks like a ThinkPad, but I think it's their effort at being a ThinkPad. So let's start off right away with the I/O and buttons and so on. So on this side, we can see we have an on-off switch. Very odd spot for an on-off switch. We have a button for your Wi-Fi. We have like a button to activate, or not a button, but a USB rather. We have some side speakers, and we're going to switch around and go around to the back here and look at the I/O in the back. We have a plug for the power and a couple of video and older video, of course. We got the old modem and networking and another USB. So, pretty well set up for I/O for such a small little unit. Lots of indicator lights and a infrared receiver there. Nothing else really in the front. And then we go here, and what do we got? We got some audio, USB. We got a express card. We got a card reader. So for a system like this old, that's unusual to see a card reader. But nevertheless, there you go. And then to access to open it, press this here. There we go, and it opens right up. I'm going to show you a little tricky thing they did with that. So I see no hook or anything in there, and I'm looking for a post or something to go in here. Well, where is that? How are they shutting this thing? Well, this is an interesting thing I noticed when I was opening it, because it just seems to shut and open with no problem and stay shut. Like there's a post or something in there that's holding it in place. Then I decided I'm going to figure out why it's doing this, and here's why. Let's use this magnet. So as that comes down, a little hook comes up and snags the top of the case, or not the case, the screen. The lid, whatever you want to call it. So that was like, wow, that's a touch. That's a complicated way of shutting and opening it. because there's nothing that happens when you press this other than it moves. It must be moving a magnet that makes the, I don't know, it's doing something that so that the hook just falls down. Oh, that was kind of cool. Cool little latch. Never seen that before. So yeah, and it works really well. Let's try it again. So listen, let's see if we can actually catch it in action here. This will be interesting. Test of my ability to video this. I don't think I can. You can hear it. And when you press it, it opens. And you know, the screen opens with just about the right amount of tension. There's no play in it, and yet I don't have to hold it down while I'm lifting up the screen. So it's a nice little engineering touch. So, but this is the keyboard. But let's turn it on. So that's how you turn it on. Anyway, so while it's turning on, we will just talk about the keyboard and things. I think it actually turned on out of sleep, so it should probably be easy enough to get it going here. Now, it has this little fingerprint scanner, which I think is pretty cool. And I think you gotta, when it comes out of sleep, it doesn't wake up and doesn't work as well. Let's see if I can get it to work. Why is that working? It always works. There we go. Just took a minute. Seems to be a little slow on getting that working when it comes out of sleep. When you start it up, it's fine. So it's not the best demo on that, but okay. So what do we got here? We got a Centrino Duo and a designed for XP, but Vista compatible. Well, if it's Vista compatible, we gotta put Vista on it, don't we? It actually runs Vista okay. So we can see it has an interesting touchpad, or yeah, I guess touchpad, whatever. This one, this key is a little stiff. Needs to be worked in a bit. But yeah, it's cool. And then of course they have their, their nub, their basic idea of competing with ThinkPads, the nub. Got these nice little rubber things to, a lot of rubber things and stuff to cushion and make a nice connection to the lid as it comes down, so that it isn't it's kind of protected. Little crack there, but other than that, it's in good shape. So let's take a look here. We got some venting, so that's nice. Get some airflow in there to cool things down. We have a presentation mode, a couple of 3 media. We have a microphone, so this thing would have been able to be used to do a kind of early conferencing, I guess. It doesn't have a camera, so this was just prior to that age where they started bringing cameras and putting cameras on everything. But yeah, I don't care. I don't need it for that. So here you go. So this is the keyboard. It's actually very good to type on. I've used it a bit, getting it refurbished, and nothing wrong with it. No visible wear at all. Got the little nub there. It's nice and recessed so it doesn't get in the way. And of course, then you've got your different function keys, battery, and up, brightness. Let's see if I should probably raise the brightness here. Yeah, it's already up. And of course, it shows on heads up on screen your activities that you're pressing. And there you go. So that's kind of a zoom in on the keyboard. One of the things you'll notice is it does have these little indicators, like this is where you turn it on. These side things that it tries to indicate, but not much of that, just that one. I have another Compaq that's bigger, that has a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Anyway, so let's get into this thing. So it is now running Windows Vista Ultimate Service Pack 2 with 3 gigabytes of memory, and it has a Core Duo T2500 running at 2 gigahertz. It's a 32-bit operating system, and that's good for this particular model. And let's jump over to how it rates according to Windows. Well, Windows, of course, where do they always fall down? These kind of laptops. It's the graphics. So their aero graphics are pretty bad. So yeah, that's going to be the big problem. In my opinion, if I was designing this laptop, I would have spent a little bit more money on giving it some better graphics and less worry about processor and memory and stuff like that. But that was the era when they thought, oh, well, it's a business machine. Nobody'd want to use it for graphically intense things. It's good enough for Excel. Anyway, so let's put those away. So let's go into the next thing that we want to talk about, and that is the refurbishing of this system. So I need to go to here. So when we look at this, that is that. Let's see, where's my, do I have it? Device manager is open. That's good. Okay, I wanted to try and get this started so that you weren't watching me fumble. So I've cleaned all the couldn't find drivers out of the device manager, and because this is a bit different, bit of a kind of a higher end model of a laptop, it has a lot of extras that need drivers, like the fingerprint scanner and stuff like that. So one of the things you start to have to do is go hunting for drivers, and I always like to get the driver that usually shipped with the system for, you know, the drivers for the display and things like that. Often improves performance. But anyway, everything's good there. So these are the drivers you need to just to clear the device manager, which has to do with more or less their like proprietary stuff that, you know, Vista wouldn't typically have drivers for. And then I almost always have to find a card reader driver on anything that I'm refurbishing. It's just something that didn't happen in Vista. But then there's all these other ones. Particularly the one that I used was the video driver. I wanted to make sure that I had something that was very compatible with what's in this, and that's what I'm using. So these are going to go up on archive.org, or the Internet Archive, as it's properly called. And yeah, then if you guys ever find one of these things, you've got a set of drivers. Probably throw it up with my video too. All right, well, typically what is the fashion for these kind of videos is to talk about the different components. So, like I said, we've kind of gone over that. There's the specs for the CPU. At least it has 2 cores. Kind of like that. Who cares about that? Here's the motherboard. The BIOS is what I look at. The BIOS are from 2007, which is roughly the period of time when this laptop would have come out, around that era. So that's good. Memory, DDR2, 3 gigabytes, dual channel, and it is in a configuration of 1 gigabyte, and it's crucial. So let's see the second one, Kingston. So looking at the dates, This one was manufactured in 2013, so this is obviously an added expansion to the original 2 gigabytes of memory, which is likely this one here. Although that one isn't even, no, looks like all the memory's been upgraded. So this is from 2007, you'd expect to see memory from 2007. So, whatever. Somebody upgraded the memory in it, so that's a plus, I don't mind that. We got mobile 945 express chips for the graphics. The large weak point. It does have 256 megabytes of graphical memory, but whatever. So yeah, the graphics are the weakness. Going over to the graphics, let's take a look. So yeah, there it is. These are the graphics. Actual memory is 64 megabytes of RAM, and then it's sharing another 192. So that's really telling of how kind of performance you're going to get out of this thing. But we're going to run it through its paces and see. I mean, I don't really use this kind of, I would never use this kind of thing for graphics anyway, the monitors, graphically intensive operations, because the monitor is so small. But, the monitor isn't terrible, because we go here, we can see that the monitor is 1024 by 768. And for a small little computer like this, that's actually quite useful. Like, I can work in that size. I cannot work very effectively with a netbook. They're just too small. Most of them don't even reach the 768 pixels for the, for the, what would you call that? This way. So is that vertical? The vertical dimension? Yeah, they're vertical dimension. They don't even reach 768, so this is good. This is good. Okay, let's examine the hard drive now. We've got a Toshiba 640 gigabyte, and it's running good apparently. Temperature's good, everything good. And let's take a look at how many hours. Okay, how many days, years, months? How long has this thing been running? Under a year. Under a year's mileage. Not bad. This thing's got lots of life left in it, and it's not indicating any issues. All right, last but not least, we can just kind of look at the summary data here. So yeah, and the temperatures. Well, it's running pretty warm for doing nothing. So of all the things it probably could use is, if I was really ambitious, I could take this thing apart and I could remove the bottom and remove everything and throw some thermal paste on this thing, because it probably isn't, probably as dry as a bone. So that's the one problem that's with this thing, is it's the heat. I don't like those kind of temperatures. Maybe that's the running temperature of that kind of a system, but that seems really warm. Very warm for it doing nothing. But, whatever. There you go. Some basics of the system. Close that out. All right. Is it? Well, it isn't. That's the wrong date, time. I'm not going to worry about it. The CMOS battery is dead. Although it is holding this amount of it's got the date right, it just obviously doesn't have the time right. Oh, maybe it does. Oh, hang on. No, it's right. Okay, hang on a second. I thought it, yeah, no, everything's good. So maybe the CMOS battery isn't dead. Maybe it was dead when I first got it going, and maybe running it for a bit has recharged it or something. Whatever. It seems to be holding its date now. I made a little note when I was refurbishing it. Okay. Well, now we come to the all-important, difficult challenge that this thing faces when we are examining this thing. is how's it gonna do? There's a lot of different things running here. Let's see if we can get rid of some of them. Oh yeah, let's exit the sidebar thing. Yeah, that'll save it a little bit of how we doing with it. The great thing is the battery, the main battery actually charges and holds a charge, which is pretty dang good for a system this old, for it to be holding a charge. Okay, I think that's good enough. That's probably all the things I want to shut down. All right, let's give this thing a go. How's it gonna do? How's it gonna do? Yeah, let's go. Floating point operations. Yeah. Okay. So this is all CPU stuff. And I notice it goes into a basic video mode to give it sort of like to give the graphics as best an opportunity as it has. All right, RAM, checking the RAM out. CPU is gone, got that taken care of. Let's take a look at the RAM. Well, it's transferring. And it's transferring. Here we go. This is the thing. Let's take a look at this. Oh, 23, 21, 20 frames per second. Not good, not good. Oh, yeah, it penalized me because the GPU shader reduces the score by 50%. There's no shader. So, how do we score? Ooh, less than 300. That is brutal. So, what does that tell us? Well, the system RAM's fine and the CPU is moderate, but a 2 for video for the graphics and 10 frames because it penalizes you for not having a shader. So a 10 frames per second on for a score like that puts it out of the realm of gaming, I would say. Hardware otherwise, score is pretty decent at 29. So I would say, what are you going to use this thing for? Well, it is ultra portable. It's super small. It's very light. Love the keyboard's good. So if you want to take it to a coffee shop and you want to do some, read a few PDFs, read a few CBR, CBZ, work on Word, Excel, PowerPoint, office stuff. You want to do some programming in a compiler that runs on a system like this. If you want to use the things that I use a lot, which are the brain, and you can do some basic graphics editing using View. I like to keep things in Zim Desktop Wiki. That runs completely fine. I use Sublime for my editor a lot. Yeah, those are some basic things. So yeah, if you want to use this for a lot of things, you certainly can. Anything text-based, anything productivity-wise. Forget about games. This thing isn't going to cut it. Plus the fact that it's running so hot, I really wouldn't want to even attempt to run games on it unless I was to redo the I'm going to say this later after we get off this discussion. So I wouldn't use this for games, but as far as cool factor, this thing is really cool. I think it's got some really very interesting sort of little aspects to it that, I don't know, harkens back to a different time. These systems used to be worth thousands of dollars, I'm telling you. You have no idea how expensive these things were. And Yeah. You just have no idea how much you used to pay for something like this, and this would have been so small, and you would have went, oh my god, look how small it is. No, and it doesn't have an optical drive. Wow, what are we going to do about that? That's just crazy. Yeah. It's one of the first laptops, I think, that didn't have a... Well, I mean, there's a few. And when they got kind of to a certain size, they didn't want to put optical drives in them. They wanted to conserve the space. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a pretty cool system. Very cool system. So that's going to be our examination of this HP Compaq system. And as always, I hope you're having a great day. A great, in this case, Sunday, February the 2nd.